Right, good morning. This is the Eastern BCP Committee meeting for Thursday, 29th of August 2024. First of all, if I'd like to start this meeting with a recent sad passing of Councillor Brian Castle, ward member for Muscliffe and Stroughton Park, and also for a sad passing of Robert Chapman, honorary freeman and alderman of Bournemouth, and member of former Bournemouth Council for 37 years. If we just have a pause of remembrance, please. Thank you. So if we go to the agenda, first of all, apologies, please, Democratic Services.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just read out the housekeeping notice quickly. Please note this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair. For those in the room, please note if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum. Mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent. And for those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning the volume down completely on your laptops. Item 1, apologies have been received from Councillor Michael Tarling, Councillor Lawrence Williams and Councillor David Flagg. Item 2, substitutes. There are no substitutes today.
Thank you for that. So I'm Councillor Paul Hilliard, Chairman of the committee, and if we just introduce different members. So
I'm Marion Le Pedvin, I'm Vice Chair of Committee and I'm Ward Councillor for Newtown and Heatherlands.
Good morning, I'm Councillor Felicity Rice, Councillor in Oakdale Ward.
Good morning, Gillian Martin, Councillor for Boscombe West.
Morning, I'm Joe Salmon, Councillor for Moordown.
Morning, Joe Clements for Penhill Ward.
thank you. We're also joined today by Tom Hubbard, Lead Officer, Presenting Officer Charlotte Haynes, Steve Davis and Eden Evans, and Robert Firth, the Senior Solicitor, and Jill Hollyoak is Democratic Services. So if we move on to item 3, are there any declarations of interest? None. And number 4, confirmation of the minutes for the meeting 1st of August 2024, that they're correct record. Any amendments? All happy? Approved?
Approved.
All approved, thank you. Number 5 is public issues. After the officer presentation, we will hear any public speakers, followed by any ward councillors who wish to speak. So number 6, schedule of planning applications. We start off with 6A 3 Stroud Gardens. Miss Haynes, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. So this application is for the change of use of a residential dwelling to a residential children's home for 4 children at 3 Stroud Gardens. The application has been called in because the number of representations received, which are contrary to the recommendation, exceeds that for the scheme of delegation powers. The application site comprises a detached chalet bungalow set within a small cul-de-sac. 7 properties, and is surrounded on all sides by residential properties, as you can see here on this slide. Application plan here. So here we have the an aerial photograph showing the chalet bungalow position in the cul-de-sac. You can see where it is sitting here. And it's surrounded, as I said, by properties on all sides, and you can see that better in this aerial image. On the right-hand side here, we have a map that shows the site in a more zoomed out scale here, so you can see it in its context. The site is in a highly accessible location. There is a regular bus service which runs along Summerford Road,
top here to the north, and Mudderford Lane south. The site is also within walking distance of facilities, including local schools. As you can see on the map here, you've got the infant school here, a very short distance away, and a primary school down here, which is also a short walk away. The nearest secondary school is located to the north of Somerford Road, approximately a 15-minute walk away. Skip ahead now to the next slide. Here we have the site plan, which has been amended during the course of the application to reduce the number of parking spaces to 2, as so it's in accordance now with the parking supplementary planning guidance, which requires 2 parking spaces. Here we have the existing floor plans, which show the internal arrangement within the bungalow. And these are the proposed floor plans, which effectively show the same same layout, as there's no proposals to change that. They're going to retain the 5 bedrooms, with 2 bedrooms you can see here on the ground floor and 3 bedrooms on the first floor. There are no external alterations proposed, so there's no elevations. Here are some more aerial photographs which show the bungalow a bit closer up now. As you can see, the bungalow here on the left-hand side, I'm looking sort of southwards up to onto the rear elevation of the bungalow. You can see it in relation to its neighbours from that orientation, and again here looking northwards with the neighbours on either side there on the cul-de-sac. Here are some site photographs that show the bungalow from standing in the road in the cul-de-sac, so standing in front of the site. You can see on the top photo, we have it showing in relation to the bungalow to the east. And on the bottom there, we can see the chalet bungalow in relation to the neighbouring property there to the west. You can also see in this photograph a dormer. This was actually conditioned to be obscure glazed and fixed in a way to prevent overlooking as part of the permission to enlarge the bungalow, which was previously a single-storey bungalow similar to what you can already see in the road here. It's been enlarged to be a chalet style, and as part of that permission, this dormer window was conditioned to be obscure glazed and fixed in a way to prevent any such overlooking towards this neighbour to the west. It appears that this hasn't been done, and so a condition is recommended with this recommendation to essentially make sure that it is obscured and fixed in a way to prevent any overlooking, as it serves a bedroom, that window. Okay. There's some more site photographs. You can see it standing sort of just into the cul-de-sac there, looking up towards the site and the bungalow there. And we've also got a photograph here. This is standing within Rosedale Close, which is a cul-de-sac to the north. And you can just see the rear elevation poking through between these 2 properties to the north, which you've seen on the aerial photos. So in conclusion, as I showed from the map, you can see the site's in a highly accessible location, close to schools, within close walking distance to schools and bus routes and the shops that we have along Somerford Road. There are no policies in the local plan to resist the loss of the existing dwelling as a dwelling, the C3 dwelling, which is its current use. There are no policies in the local plan that would require a need to demonstrate a children's care home. No external works are involved, as I said, so there's no impact on the street scene. The proposals for a maximum of 4 children, which is recommended to be condition limited to this. So with 4 children, it's not dissimilar to a large family home, and therefore there's no sort of change in that sense to in terms of the relationship with neighbours, and sort of it's akin to 4 kids and 2 parents living in a large family home, so there'd be no change in that impact on neighbours there. Same relationship. no increase in noise and disturbance essentially. And the provision of 2 parking spaces, as per the parking SPDA said, there's hard standing already at the front. I think you saw that from the photographs there, which showed that the parking spaces are already provided. The proposal would not lead to a significant increase in traffic movements because you have 2 carers and a manager coming, the 2 carers coming on a shift basis across the day, 2 times a day. So it's not dissimilar to sort of, you know, parents coming and going. It's recommended for approval, say, subject to conditions limiting it to the use of the care home for a maximum of 4 children, retention of 2 parking spaces, and also obviously the provision of that window to be obscure glazed and fixed in such a way as to not cause any overlooking to the neighbour. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes, for that clear presentation. If we move to Democratic Services, please, speakers.
Thank you, Chair. There are 2 written statements from local residents who are objecting. The first is from Joanne Rimmer of 2 Rosedale Close. In addition to the objections I have already submitted, I would like to say that my husband and I have serious concerns about the accuracy and reliability of the planning statement submitted by the applicant. The applicant has proven themselves to be unreliable for a number of reasons. Some of these include: 1. Submitting a false certificate of ownership that stated the applicant had owned the property for at least 21 days in their original application. They only had an offer to purchase the property accepted at that time. 2. Not disclosing to the existing owners that they intended the sale to be subject to planning permission being granted. When the existing owners found out, they put the house back on the market and have subsequently withdrawn it from sale. 3. Stating that the property is their residential address. They have never lived there. 4. Stating that the property has parking for 4 cars, item 4.1 of the planning statement. It has parking for 2 cars. 5. Stating that no external or internal alterations are proposed, item 5.2 of the planning statement, to make 4 parking spaces, which BCP Highways said were not legal anyway, would have required significant alterations. 6. Item 9.3 of the planning statement says the secondary school is closely located to the site. This is not correct. A primary school is located close to the property. Secondary schools are not in the immediate vicinity. The planning statement also suggests that visitors to the property will be kept to a minimum, item 8.7. It says post-COVID lockdowns establish the continued use of video conferencing as much as possible to reduce the need for any staff or associated visitors needing to physically attend the property. We question the accuracy of this. How could staff effectively work at a children's home without physically being there? Also, social workers, health visitors would surely regularly attend in person to check the welfare of the children. These visitors will add to the already stretched parking issues in and around Stroud Gardens. Finally, should the committee decide in favour of this application, we would respectfully request that a caveat is placed on the approval that prevents any further alterations development of 3 Stroud Gardens. The site is already overdeveloped, and any further development would add to the burden this property puts on the many neighbours that closely surround it. Second statement is from Julia Costello of 1 Stroud Gardens. I am opposed to the above application to change the use of this property from residential dwelling to a residential children's home. 1. Totally inappropriate for the immediate area. 2. Surrounding properties are bungalows housing older residents who chose this location for peace and quiet. 3. Property is already overdeveloped for this vicinity. 4. Parking will be a huge problem as it is a very small close with limited access and driveways in constant use. 5. The drains already overflow where there is heavy rain with sewers backing up, so more use in the close will only make this worse. 6. My garage and drive are close to this property, and with a son with cerebral palsy and Asperger's, our drive and access to our garage is in constant use for his electric wheelchairs, and he is already agitated at the prospect of not being able to get in and out when he needs to. 7. The applicants have not been truthful in their application, submitting false certificate of ownership, stating the property is their residential address when they haven't lived there, stating there is parking for 4 cars when there is only parking for 2 cars, stating secondary schools are located to this site is also inaccurate. Finally, this is not a location suitable for children or young adults who need a location that better suits their needs with surrounding facilities and other younger people to interact with. There's one speaker in support of the application, that is Aida McManus, and she is joining us on Teams. So whenever you're ready.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak. Firstly, I wish to thank the Planning Officer for her report and the comprehensive assessment she has made. And I also like to reiterate her comments. Wild Orchid Therapeutic Services provides essential special care for looked after children who are among the most vulnerable in our society. By focusing on creating a stable, family-centric environments, they ensure that the children receive the support and nurturing homes they need. There will be 2 full-time staff present on site at all times, operating a 24-hour rota system and sleeping over. A manager will be on site working Monday to Friday to ensure that there is sufficient staff to provide the much needed specialist care, which is required to ensure that the children can be properly safeguarded. The proposed use would generate no greater level of noise, disturbance or traffic movements than an average 5-bedroom dwelling, especially as the children are supervised at all times. The only difference between a residential dwelling and the proposed use is that care is provided by qualified staff and not the parents of the children. However, the property will remain residential in its nature due to the fact no internal alterations are required, and the applicant has agreed to install the obscure glazing to the first floor window on the western elevations, which the owners have failed to do. We did submit a site plan with 4 parking spaces, but the Highway Authority asked us to reduce this to 2, which is shown on the site plan. The proposal would not result in congestion in the area or have a detrimental impact on highway safety. Due to the fact that the site is in a sustainable location, the applicant will encourage staff to use alternative sustainable modes of transport to and from work, and this will contribute to the reduction in the home's carbon footprint. Any visitors will be pre-booked to ensure that their visits are well managed and controlled. These meetings will not be dissimilar to a residential dwelling where a family is caring for their child with special needs requirements, or an average 5-bedroom dwelling who has family and friends visiting on a regular basis. The applicant prioritises caring and maintaining the local environment by fostering neighbour-friendly collaboration and initiating programmes that nurture and strengthen community relationships. There have been no objections from the local highway authority. In fact, they asked us to reduce the number of parking spaces, and there have been no other statutory consultee objections. The government supports the proposed use in residential areas under Section 8 of the NPPF to achieve a healthy, inclusive and safe place to ensure that a cohesive community can benefit from the specialist support provided by the applicant for these vulnerable children in a family environment. This will enable the children to successfully navigate positive change in their lives to become valued members of society through contributing to a successful, safe, strong, cohesive and society. The proposal complies with the Council's adopted planning policies as well as the National Planning Policy Framework. It will provide the much needed specialist residential care for young people without resulting in any adverse impacts that will significant and demonstrably outweigh the benefits of granting permission. I therefore duly request that members of the committee can support the officer's recommendation. And I do apologise for getting the certificates wrong, but that was corrected as soon as we realised. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. So there's no ward councillor speaking. So if I can just ask Ms Haynes, so was there any information from what the speakers said you could clarify, particularly on the form? Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. So I might just start again just now, just because I don't know if everyone can hear me. Yeah, so as I say, once the fact the applicant did not own the property was highlighted to me, this was brought to the attention of the agent, and they advised me that the completion of the incorrect certificate was done in error. It was an oversight, and they actually confirmed that with the sending over a notification letter, a copy of it that they had actually sent to the current owners with the date prior to when it was the application was submitted. So clearly it was done as an error, an oversight. The agent rectified the matter, confirming this with the submission of certificate B, that notice had been served on the existing owners. We accepted the agent's statement that the original certificate was completed in error, and we didn't consider that this was a deliberate attempt to mislead the council. So we effectively allowed them to submit that, and we restarted the application back to sort of the start, effectively from day one, and restarted the publicity 21-day or 24-day publicity period for to allow for that. Okay.
Thank you for coming home. Okay, so members, are there any questions for the officer? I'll just start off that part about a condition about restricting further development. Are we able to do that, permitted developments, or just any? So restrict, obviously, if they want to come back to committee for a change, that's it. But can we restrict permitted development? Thank you.
Well, I suppose we're sort of looking at change of use to C2. So I guess they wouldn't have the permitted development they would have if it was for a dwelling house under sort of a C3 dwelling house, because we're changing the use here to C2. So I don't think we'd have that issue in terms of permitted development that we'd normally see for a dwelling house.
Thanks for confirming. Are there any other questions? Councillor Martin?
Now, when I went to look at this property, because I first of all looked it up on Google Maps, and I noticed that on Google Maps, you know, when you go on Street View, that bungalow is blurred out. So it leads me to believe what is, you know, some of the information that the applicants gave is a bit, you know, it's been questioned in the two statements, and I wonder what the property is already being used for. Is it already being used for some sort of thing that would, you know, like a children's home? Because it's blurred out on Google Maps.
Yes, it's blurred out. I didn't get the impression of this in the site that it's being used as a children's home, but then again, as I say, because they're not looking at a significant change in their nature, but I think we go back to the point that it's currently still owned by those people. It's not owned by the applicant, or that certainly it wasn't at the time of the application. Not sure the status now, but yes. So
all the curtains are closed. It just looks a bit. It just struck me as being a bit sort of strange.
By some people, private residents may choose to close their curtains. I don't think we can kind of make those assertions.
Okay, thanks for that. Any other points?
Second question, so the window that needs to be obscured, it's listed on the drawing as a bedroom, but surely to goodness it wouldn't be suitable as a bedroom. So you know, if it's not, I take it's not going to be used as a bedroom, is it?
Yeah, I mean, when the permission was given for the enlarged bungalow, it wasn't shown as a bungalow, or as a bedroom. It was shown as a sort of dressing room, something not non-habitable room, effectively. Not that issue wouldn't then present itself. It showed the existing plans that were given shows that it's been a bedroom. That looked to be the case from what I could see from estate agents' details as well. That I could see that it was a bedroom. I mean, that can happen. People do sometimes do that. It's not ideal. It's not what we prefer, but that's how they've arranged it. Yeah. So that's
children in there that are in need of care.
Yeah.
I think giving them a bedroom with an obscured window is probably the last thing they need, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they could reconfigure it in a way that meant that they could move the bedrooms around. I think there's a number of rooms, isn't there, across the whole space out on the ground floor as well, for the office study. So there's a way that it could fit, that the bedroom could have a window even if it's on the ground floor. That might be a possible solution. I'm just sort of putting forward to members.
Could we put this as a condition on the planning that it's not to be used as a bedroom if it's obscured, if it's going to be for children in care?
Mr. Firth?
Chair, the only comment I would make is as far as I'm aware, and I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, members don't have before you any information as to whether this is a suitable room for a child, and I would be slightly concerned with members just inferring that is unsuitable in this particular case without some information relevant to that. So that'd be the only observation I would make, Chair.
Councillor Rice.
I assume that that would be the type of thing that Ofsted would look at when they're authorising this to be a care home.
The thought did occur to me. It's just I couldn't say for certain, Chair, because I don't quite know the criteria Ofsted are using, so that wouldn't be something I could say with any certainty. But it did occur to me there are presumably some checks and balances that are considered in this respect.
Thank you. Any other questions? I just, Ms. Haynes, are we aware of the operator having other facilities like this in either BCP or the wider area? I've tried to go to the website and it doesn't specifically mention addresses, so maybe that is for safety. But again, as we heard, it will be Ofsted, have to go through Ofsted, so there will be that checking and that. So and then 24-hour cover. Okay, thank you. So if there's no further questions, we'll go to debate. Now, this was in my former ward, so I do know the area quite well. And the secondary school, the Grange School, is in less than a mile from me. So it's just out of the picture. So there is a secondary school. And similarly, the cul-de-sac is mixed ages. Obviously, things have changed, and a lot of, as we see from the picture, other places have been developed. So it's not just elderly, it is a mix of all ages, and certainly around the corner is more family home. So it is really a mix of ages. And as the officer said, it could be a family with 2 adults in the premises and 4 or 5 children. So for me, there's not much of a change to the impact, and it's given me security that I know there's professional staff there 24 hours if need be. So I'm happy with the proposal. Thank you. Councillor Evelyn.
I entirely agree with the chair. I mean, as a proposal, looking at it from children's angle, which I know is not what we're looking at it for planning, it seems excellent that probably 4 children are going to be in a family environment to be brought up to live when they might not otherwise have been in a family environment. That it helps them to mix in with people, with the neighbours and the families. These are children. These are ordinary children. These are not something special, except in the sense that they need additional care. But we don't know the reasons. But I think it's an excellent use. On planning terms, there's nothing to be altered to the building, nothing visually, nothing internally. So I'm very happy to propose that we pass.
Thank you. Councillor Penwick. Councillor Clements.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm a little bit torn, I have to say, because firstly, it looks to me like the property is overdeveloped, but that's done. It's historical, so that's nothing we can do about that. It certainly stands out much larger than its neighbouring properties. I agree with Councillor Le Padovan that we need facilities for our children, and they will be in a safe, provided care environment. And I'm 100% supportive of that. I was a little bit concerned regarding the coming and going of staff because, as was mentioned by somebody, there probably would be social workers and other care workers coming and going. But actually, on reflection, now I've listened a little bit more and thought it through a little bit more. It could be very busy with a regular family home anyway. You could have, I mean, I know when my children were little, the house was constantly full of people and cars appearing and coming and going, and so in fact it might even be less the case there because different circumstances. So yeah, I think in principle I am supportive, although I was originally a little bit torn, but having listened to the evidence so far, yeah, I am quite supportive of this one.
And are you happy to second the proposal?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Are there any other debate on this, Councillor Salmon?
Oh, I mean, I'm probably not going to make myself popular. I do find this committee frustrating at times. It reminds me of that old joke, you know, where somebody's asking for directions and they're told, well, I wouldn't start from here. Because when it does come for care of vulnerable children like this, and I know we've not got that hat on, alarm bells ring when it's being done by private for-profit providers like this. And you can see some of that corner cutting, and that's
Sorry, Councillor Salmon, just before you go too much, so keep
keep
planning.
it on the application. So it was a bit worrying to see mistakes in the initial application. I've seen checking them out online. The website's got some lorem ipsum dollar on, and I think we've heard legitimate concerns about the development. But yeah, I think those concerns don't fall into anything that we can object to on a planning ground, do they? So yeah, I'll have to support, but I couldn't just sit here and not get that off my chest. So yeah, I'll reluctantly support as well. I don't see any planning reasons that this can be refused on.
Thank you, Councillor Salmon, yes, for your observations. Any last debate? No, if we go to a vote, so the vote is to approve as set out. So for those in favour, vote now. Thank you for that. That is approved. Thank you. If we move to the next item, East Cliff Beach, Undercliff Drive. And that is Steve online.
Thank you, Chair. Let me just get things set up quickly. One point I would make, which I raised during the briefing meeting, Chair, was just that we did debate as to whether or not this actually needed planning consent, because under the permitted development order, you can have temporary uses like this for 28 days without needing consent. But because the site area is not clear, and because of all the other activities that take place on the beach, we felt that it was probably appropriate to accept the application. I can just bear with me while I share my screen. Thank you, Chair. Can you see the
Yes.
see the slide
yes,
up
that's
there?
fine.
Excellent. Yes, Chair. This is on the East Cliff. It's located between. It's on the beach between two groins at the bottom of the East Cliff zigzag and below the Russell Coates Museum. It's shown by that red square there. It's slap bang in the middle of the beach. It's some distance from the pier. Members may well be aware that we had a similar proposal last year for the portal. That was much closer to the beach, and I think there were some issues about sensitivity in that position, but it's now been moved further away from the pier in a much quieter part of the beach. As you can see from that image, that's the aerial photograph. It's the Russell Coates Museum and the zigzag there, and this part of the beach is slightly quieter than the honeypot around the pier. It's that the structure is about 5 meters high, 5 meters wide, and it's probably best to move straight to this image here, because that shows quite clearly what it is. It's going to be on site for 5 days. It's going to be brought in, constructed. It's made of metal, and the finale, the final event, is that they're going to fill that structure with wooden pallets and have a big bonfire. And if you've looked at the information that's been submitted with it, it's to do with Harvest Festival and people wanting to sit around bonfires. So it's quite an interesting concept. It's part of the overall Arts by the Sea Festival. There's lots of other events taking place in the town, and this is one of them. As I said, this needs planning permission because of the uncertainty over the permitted use for short-term temporary uses. We think it's good for tourism. It's all part of the festival. They've gone through the usual process of making sure that it complies with the flood restriction and any issues on the beach. They have submitted a risk assessment. It'll be sort of stewarded throughout the period that it's there. It is on an area of open space. It will be cordoned off, but it's only there for a very short period. So, Chair, we haven't got any issues with it. If you've got any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any questions then, please?
Yes.
Councillor Pedwin.
Hello, Steve. I know I keep asking about the burning aspect of this by email because I wasn't at the briefing. But did I gather from you that they're bringing additional pallets in to burn? It's not just the structure, because I got the impression from the report it was just the structure.
No, the structure will be there for the 5 days. So, but at the end of the period, they'll bring in these wooden pallets, load the pallets in, and have a bonfire at the end of it. I imagine they're going to be brought in towards the end, or they may well be stored on site. But they're but say that the whole, it's only there for 4 or 5 days, so it's a fairly limited impact.
Thank you. It's the storage on site that might be an issue with vandals, ASB, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, they have produced a risk assessment, and I did circulate that in the update list, and they're obviously make sure that there are people there on site to make sure that there's no antisocial behaviour around. I'm sure they're this is going to be a very well managed project, and they won't be just leaving pallets around that anybody could set fire to as and when.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Councillor Martin?
I'm just thinking that if they set fire to wooden pallets inside and it's metal, it's going to be metal left at the end, but all rusty and black. How long is it anticipated that it will take to clear that away, to clear the mess away? You know, the ash and the.
Yes, they're taking it away straight away. They're obviously not going to leave it there to smoulder for weeks on end. Yes, it's all very well organised. And if you look at the report, I think it sets out the programme of what they're going to do, and it will be, the plan is to, as soon as the bonfire has gone out, that they'll remove everything from site.
Okay, thanks for confirming. So if there's no further councillor comments.
Yeah, just for clarity, so when the bonfire is finished and you say everything will be removed from site, so will the metal structure also be removed at that point?
Yes, the whole thing's sort of demountable, and obviously they're not going to leave a smouldering wreck on the beach, and that would be dangerous and very unsightly as well. So yeah, the whole program is to construct it, leave it there for a few days, have the bonfire inside it, and as soon as the bonfire has taken place the next day, just remove all the debris.
Okay, thanks for that. So as Mr. Davies says, that because it's not a 5-day structure, normally wouldn't want planning permit or wouldn't need planning permission. It's merely because there's been other pop-ups for completeness. The planning team has brought it to here today, but as we hear, it is quite a basic application. So any debate on this, Councillor Martin?
Yeah, I'm actually really in favour of this. I went to see the portal last year. My only comment would be, it's a shame that it's a bit further to walk down the beach, because not everybody's got a lot of time to go wandering off, and so walking a bit further along would have been will be a bit hard work, but never mind. But yeah, I'm actually in favour of this. It's the port starts by the sea, and I would propose we go ahead, but. Yeah,
We'll take that as a proposal. Councillor Clements?
Yeah, I'm in favour. I love the structure. I think it's fabulous, really eye-catching. I'm really in favour of the whole arts on the beach thing. But I don't understand the bonfire. What is the point of that? And why do we have to pollute the atmosphere and the environment with horrible smoke that to me seems a completely unnecessary thing to do?
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Martin's proposal? Councillor Rice? Yeah, don't want to say anything on that? No.
No, just happy to second, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hubbard?
Just to clarify, the recommendation is in accordance with the modified condition and the additional condition within the addendum update circulated.
Could you just confirm that, please, Josh?
So, Chair, it's for the mover and seconder to confirm. So in the addendum update, there's a recommended additional and condition and a modification. And if the mover's happy to take those on board, just to confirm that the case. Yes.
There is an additional condition relating to lighting. So it says no flood lighting shall be installed on any part of the application site. Any external lighting shall be directional only to illuminate the enclosed area hereby permitted and be compliant with some policy relating to bats and artificial lighting at night. And then there's a modification to condition 3, flood risk management and emergency evacuation plan.
You're happy with that? And Councillor Rice, you're happy as a seconder?
Yeah. I was just wondering with regards to the air pollution, whether any monitoring is being done or any calculation. I don't imagine it is, but.
I didn't quite catch the question. I'm not sure who's
Sorry.
directed at.
Sorry, I was just thinking over Councillor Clement's comment about the air pollution and whether any assessment is being done on that or calculation.
Chair, if I can just explain that the applicant has said that that they are using sustainable wood, recycled wood, and I did think about this matter, Chair, but then I thought, well, you know, in bonfire night, it's something that happens fairly regularly, and I think going back to the question asked by one of the members, why are they having a bonfire? I think it's to do with the Harvest Festival and a tradition, but I'm sure if you follow the Arts by the Sea Festival, you'll be able to find out exactly why they're having the bonfire.
Thanks for confirming. Councillor Rice?
Yeah, that's helpful. I was thinking also about the air show and the amount of air pollution that would be causing this weekend, and we probably don't have any assessment of that either. Thank you.
Okay, so we've had the proposal and seconded as set out. So if there's no further debate, we'll go to a vote. So those in favour to approve, vote now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
For those against?
None.
And abstentions?
1.
Thank you. So that is approved as set out. If we move now to 6C, Boscombe Pier, Undercuss Drive. And this will be presented by Miss Evans. Thank you.
So this application is for the installation of a beach shower in the shape of a Jimmy's iced coffee bottle can on stepped composite decking. It's close to Boscombe Pier and it's before committee as BCP is the landowner. You can see here the site location plan. Here is an aerial view of the site with an approximate red outline of the site. The structure is proposed between the promenade and the sand on a curved area of hard standing with railings that separate this area from the beach. The site is to the east of Boscombe Pier, in front of the Urban Reef Bar and Restaurant, and next to the outdoor seating area of Urban Reef. Here you can see a photo of the proposed shower structure and decking. The shower has been in situ according to the submitted application form since 2022. So this is the retrospective application, and it replaces a previous shower in the same location. Here you can see the proposed elevation and section drawings. So the proposal comprises 2 showers concealed by a larger structure in the shape of a coffee can and straws, with a lower foot wash tap towards the base. The shower points are marked in yellow in the central illustration on this slide. As you can see from the proposed elevations, the structure measures 2.84 metres in height. Here's the layout plan submitted. So the black circle shows the outline of the structure. The blue square shows the original BCP shower, and you can see the area of decking with a footprint measuring 3.8 metres by 2.817 metres. Here are elevations of the proposed decking, so there's 2 steps, both measuring 17.5 centimetres in height. Considering the site context, as you can see from the photo and aerial view, the application site is in a built-up area of the beach, characterised by a number of commercial uses, including retail and hospitality, as well as public facilities such as the barbecues, changing rooms and toilets. Both the pier area and this section of the promenade are characterised by commercial offerings which are conspicuous and have associated adverts. In close proximity is the Urban Reef Cafe and Restaurant, its outdoor seating area, the Sorted Surf Shop, small ice cream kiosk, and also the Harvester in close proximity. The proposal is therefore not considered to be out of keeping with the colourful and commercial character of this section of the seafront. Overall, there's not considered to be any impact on residential amenities or highways, and the LHA have raised no objection. It's acknowledged that the proposal is conspicuous, but it's considered this is not out of character with this section of the seafront, and the proposal is accordingly recommended for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eden. So members, are there any questions on this? Councillor Martin?
Hi, yeah. It's because it's Jimmy's. Is there any sort of, because obviously they own the intellectual property, Jimmy's own the intellectual property on the, the logo and things. So has the council had to pay to use that, or is it actually our Jimmy's actually paying us for advertising? Just curious.
Ms. Eden?
So there's 2 applications on this site. So there's an advert consent application, so it's considered to be an advert for them, as well as the planning application. And BCP Council have a contract with Jimmy's to, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So we are getting paid for it. Cool. So it's bringing in revenue. Super. Yeah.
Councillor Clements?
Yeah, thank you. So are Jimmy's going to pay for the installation and the maintenance?
So I had a look at the contract that BCP has for this offering, and it's agreed within the contract that they are liable for maintenance and repair work.
Well,
So the applicant, yeah. So it uses the existing plumbing that was there from the previous shower, and some of the existing pipework remains as BCP. But in terms of the functioning of the shower and maintenance of the structure, that is the responsibility of the applicant, and that is part of the contract that they have with BCP already.
Thanks for confirming. Are you happy with that? Okay. With regards to the maintenance, would we need to condition, or because you said it's in the terms, that would you be happy that's covered? Maybe Mr. Firth?
Madam Chair, I think legally you have to differentiate between the council as a planning as an applicant and the planning application. So if members were concerned about the maintenance, I'd say you'd have to condition it the fact that the council as an applicant should impact in that sense upon your determination of the planning application, any more so than it was a different applicant.
Thanks for confirming. Councillor Clements.
So this is retrospective, right? So I don't know that part of the beach at all. So presumably they paid for the initial installation then, Jimmy's. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Any last questions on that? Yeah, obviously it's a facility that was there with BCP. Looking at the picture, it was a single shower. This is now enhanced too. I've got to admit, my question would be that why is it coming now? Is it just to formalise things? Thank you.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is to regularise what's there already.
Thank you. And there's no time restriction. It is indefinitely until they close and until they cut the contract.
I mean, Chair, to be clear, again, we have to differentiate between any contract arrangement with the council and what you're determining as a planning application. This planning permission appears to be an indefinite permission for this particular structure.
Okay, thank you for that. So if we move to debate then, please. Councillor Martin.
I quite like it. It's ghastly, but it's cool. It's cool at the same time. You know, you wouldn't want it in your house, but actually it is fitting for the area, for the location it's in. It's fitting, and yeah, I quite like it. Yeah, I would support this application.
Thank you for that. Councillor Pedderman.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's quirky and it's fun, but it could be the thin end of a big wedge. We don't want too many of this sort of, franchised advertising, whatever it is, along there. I think, the odd one, fine. More than, once it steps up to getting up higher figures, it could be a problem. I just wonder how many people will think it's a huge iced coffee dispenser and get very disappointed, but still, we'll see about that. But yes, quirky and fun, but also could be the thin end of a wedge.
Thank you. Councillor Clements.
Yeah, it's a real funny one, isn't it? I agree. It's quirky and fun, but absolutely ugly. But we need showers. I'm all in favour of more showers on the beach. I think that's an excellent provision. But oh my, whatever next? I mean, like I said, I don't know that area of the beach. Can you imagine if they put that on sandbanks or tried to? Oh, like we'd all be lynched.
You try it.
Thank you. It's obviously a difficult one because the beaches in Christchurch, the residents would like an extra shower. So it would be an interesting debate if Jimmy's come along with a proposal, would they go ahead? So, but it's not in front of us now. So any final proposals, anyone? Or I shall take it from the chair, happy to propose as set out. And the seconder, Councillor Martin. Okay, that's approved. Seconded and proposed, and if we go to a vote, so those in favour as
So that's 5.
and against
None.
and abstains.
1.
So that is approved as set out. Thank you, Ms. Eden. And if we now move to 28 Alma Road, also Ms. Eden.
So this application is at 28 Alma Road in Bournemouth, and it's for a change of use of one flat, use class C3, to an office use class E. It's before committee as BCP is the applicant and the landowner. You can see here the site location plan. Here is an aerial view of the site with an approximate red outline. For context, the site is just to the east of Wimborne Road. Here you can see both the existing and the proposed elevations. No changes are proposed to the exterior of the building. And you can see it's a 2-storey building with loft accommodation. Here you can see a photograph of the front elevation of the property. So here are the existing floor plans. The block is currently laid out as 8 self-contained residential units, with the 3 ground floor units each having their own entrance, and the upper floor units access through an entrance to the side of the building. Here you can see the proposed floor plans. There are also no internal alterations to the layout. However, flat 6 on the first floor, if you can see my cursor here, this is proposed as the office. The application thoroughly concerns the change of use of this single flat. The other flats will remain in the existing use class, no change of use required. So considering the principle of the change of use of flat 6, the proposal would result in the loss of one residential unit, which is contrary to the aims of policy 6.3 of the district-wide local plan, which seeks to retain existing residential accommodation. In justifying this, the applicant affirms that the loss of the flat is to provide long-term support to residents with specialist housing requirements on a 24-hour basis. The bedroom and bathroom are proposed for retention due to the requirement for waking night support. Whilst the other flats will remain self-contained units, which are independently occupied, the ancillary office will mean on-site support is available if required. The office will allow staff to have oversight of tenants and to support them in their independent living through assistance, for example, with administrative tasks, such as setting up and maintaining utility bills. It's considered that there are clear public benefits to the proposal in terms of supporting BCP housing strategy and providing the appropriate care to residents. These public benefits are strong material considerations and have been weighed up against the policy conflict in the planning balance. In terms of other considerations, this proposal comprises no physical changes to the building, therefore it's not considered to have a material impact on the character and appearance of the area. Similarly, there's not considered to be any impact on residential amenity from the proposal. There's no extensions or physical alterations like new windows, etc. And the change of use of one residential unit to an ancillary office is not considered to result in any increased noise or disturbance to neighbouring residences. Considering the parking arrangements, the local highway authority has raised no objection to the proposal. You can see here that the parking area is located to the rear of the building. 3 spaces are allocated to the residents, with 1 space allocated to the proposed office. Given the small size of the office, 1 parking space meets the parking requirement as set out in the parking SPD. In summary, no harm has been identified in relation to character and appearance of the area, residential amenity, or to highway safety. The loss of a residential unit is considered negative. However, given that the proposal only comprises the loss of one single 1-bedroom flat, this has been assigned moderate weight in the planning balance. Public benefits of the scheme are considered to be a contribution to specialist housing provision in BCP, which would support the BCP housing strategy and provide appropriate care to residents. This public benefit is considered to outweigh the loss of one 1-bedroom flat. The office is proposed as ancillary to the block of flats with the purpose of the office as previously stated. It's recommended, therefore, that if committee is minded to approve this application, a condition is added for the office to remain ancillary as set out in the supporting statement and not to be separately let out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eden, for that. So any questions on this change of use? Just from my point of view, obviously it is a useful service to supporting adults. Are you aware if anyone from outside this particular building would that be able to service that? Thank you.
Yeah, I did clarify with the applicant, and yeah, I was told that the support would be for the residents of the block. So they're not anticipating, other users to come. And yeah, also to note, the office is proposed on the first floor, so you would have to go through the block in order to access it. But yeah, the intention is for it to be supporting the residents of the block.
Thank you for looking into that. So if there's no other questions, if we can go straight into debate, any points on this? Again, I think from me, it's similar to the need for children's homes. So supported adult living, and obviously the home has been there for a number of years, but they've realised that extra support is needed on site. So for me, I think it makes sense and a positive way forward. Any other questions? Or I will propose from the chair then that approved as set out. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Councillor Clements. If there's no further debate, if we go to a vote, so if you're happy to approve as set out, vote for now.
That's unanimous, thank you.
Okay, so that is approved.
Sorry,
Mr. Firth.
Can I just clarify that was including the additional condition?
Just to say that condition was in my officer report. I just wanted to make it clear. Sorry for any confusion around that.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. So that is approved as set out. So thank you for your attendance today. That is the end of the meeting.